with Netanyahu's government fracturing over losing two coalition parties, leaving him with only 50 of the 120 parliamentary seats. How has Netanyahu's dependence on far-right and ultra-Orthodox parties trapped him in an unsustainable governing coalition?
Thank you for having me, Mona. Here I am compelled to borrow an expression used by the former president of Yemen, Ali Abdullah Saleh, which was dancing on the heads of snakes. I think that's exactly what Netanyahu has been doing throughout his current term or his latest term as prime minister. He had to make a deal with the devil, the extremists, basically, whether the ultra-Orthodox Orthodox parties or the far-right ultra-nationalist parties, in order to form a coalition government that secures him the necessary majority in the Knesset so that he can basically govern Israel with next to absolute impunity, basically. And I believe that right now Netanyahu is now reaping what he sowed, basically, because right now he cannot satisfy each and everyone. The Orthodox parties have been very vocal about the conscription laws that the government has been introducing. As you know, Mona, the Orthodox conservative Jews in Israel are exempted from the compulsory military service.
Exactly.
However, now, given that the country is waging war on 100,000 fronts, it does need to conscript each and every able-bodied citizen into the army. And of course, pressure has been mounted on the Netanyahu government to recruit soldiers and officers from among the Orthodox Jews, because they cannot be exempted vis-a-vis other Israeli citizens. It basically negates the idea of citizenship and equality before the law. So much for the best democracy, or the only democracy in the Middle East. Doesn't sound like a very vibrant and healthy democracy to be, Mona, as you can see. So now he has pushed forward, of course, the conscription laws. He amended them, but still he pushed them forward. And Orthodox Jews will be conscripted to the army and recruited, maybe in smaller numbers, but still they will be. So now these parties are starting to walk out of his government right now. But the problem is, Mona, that his loss of a coalition partner would make him more eager not to lose other coalition partners, which are the ultra-nationalist parties, both of Ben Gvir and Smotrich, which means that now the chances of a ceasefire in Gaza, in my opinion, have been significantly reduced once again.
But you pinpointed your finger on two very important issues that we will bring up again, Mr. Osman. Let me here go to Dr. Nurhan. And Dr. Nurhan, how does the military draft exemption crisis expose the contradictions in Netanyahu's coalition?
I think Netanyahu, from the early beginning of the coalition, promised or had many promises to the fundamentalist Jew and all other parties like Chas, etc. And one of the most important basic for that coalition is the protection of Hardim. And promising to not to allow their recruitment to the army, etc. But actually, what is going on make a great pressure on Netanyahu from both sides. From one side, the military institution needs more and more people to cover all those fronts they are working on, and you know that they are now in Gaza, Dafa, in Lebanon, Syria, as well as others, maybe not very close, but still a front like Iran, like Houthis. So they are now fighting in many different fronts, and they need more and more soldiers and to add more to the army. And that's why the military institution making pressure on Netanyahu, and there is real need to them because Haradim, you know, there are thousands of them, and most of them are young people who are or who should be in the army. So, but from the other hand, he promised other parties not to allow that and to keep Haradim is away from the army. And this is one of the reasons that many young people join Haradim actually, because they want to, by a way or another, being away from the army, from fighting, from being in danger. Up to the date, only I think maybe 2-3% who respond positively to the call for Haradim to join the army or so. So I think this is a big problem, but maybe Netanyahu will manage that. I mean, he is not in that much dangerous because at least Chas, they declared withdrew from the government, but they didn't withdraw from a coalition within the Knesset. So now it is a dilemma. He has majority or has not. I mean Netanyahu. And I think by a way or another he could cover or overcome what is going on because, still Netanyahu is the best choice for all the parties, religious and fundamental parts, far-right parties, all those who are, for them, Netanyahu is better than any left party may come to power.
Mm-hmm. Ms. Ahmed, according to The Atlantic, Netanyahu has been doing what he does best, which is playing for time. Now, how has this strategy helped him clinch to power under the multiple pressures he faces? And you already mentioned two of them.
It helps him a lot, actually, because Netanyahu is rather a very rare example of professing the art of political survival, being able to overcome insurmountable odds and challenges, and even sweep many failures and shortcomings under the rug, and prove to be resilient and able to cement his grip on power. This is what Netanyahu does. This is what makes him one of the strongest statesmen in the history of the state of Israel, and maybe even the longest serving prime minister in the history of the state of Israel. And Netanyahu, whenever the political conditions, the domestic political conditions become way too challenging for him and his government, he always searches for an exit or an escape route through creating or opening another front so that everyone can stand by the government and support it in its new wars. And of course, the latest escalation in Syria is no exception. That doesn't mean that Israel launches its war of aggressions solely so that Netanyahu can survive politically. We are not naive and we are not stupid, and anyone who thinks that this is the case should have his mental capacities checked, because of course that's not the case. Israel has an expansionist agenda that it seeks to enforce and apply in the region. Unfortunately, Netanyahu is taking advantage of these expansionist ambitions of the state of Israel and is employing them rather efficiently so that he can further his own political survival. And I do agree with Dr. Nurhan al-Sheikh that Netanyahu will probably survive this periodic turbulence. Either he will cut a deal with the Orthodox party so that they might rejoin the government once again, or at least he will secure their support at the Knesset while they stay out of the governing coalition, yet they will remain in the parliamentary coalition, as Dr. Nurhan has rightfully pointed out. So I think that right now Netanyahu is not hanging by a thread, as some people imagine. I think he is on relatively sturdy grounds, and that we will not be seeing the end of his long reign over Israel in the near future, at least.